So I don't want to like necessarily bash the big corporations that have gone from that one founder. Now they built this big business. Great for him. Like that's what the American dream, or that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. But I think we feed too much into that narrative that we can't produce for ourselves. You know?
Yeah, yeah. You kind of went out for a second, but I caught that. Um, yeah. So I remember we was talking about you started in 2019 and then COVID hit, so you had to switch up your strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tell us how the pandemic impacted what you were working on, and how did you adjust to this new world that we're in today?
Man, I remember this like vividly. I wanted to do, I from the beginning. I wanted to do TechFest Live, or the TechFest Expo. Well, it was TechFest Live, TechFest Expo. I wanted to do that in person at Discovery Green. Like that was my idea. Fun family games at Discovery Green in person, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, dang, like, oh, I guess this is not happening. I had reached out to one of the, I would call her a pioneer in the technology world. Her name's Dawn Dixon. One of the first people I had reached out to about TechFest Live and just kind of what I was doing, and she gave me her insights as she is and was a serial entrepreneur, founded a whole bunch of companies, and was able to do well for herself. She was just like, why don't you do it online? Like, it's not an issue. Just do it online. That's what everyone's moving to. And so, between talking with her, talking with other people that I was just bouncing ideas off of, I was like, okay, let's just do it online, because that's where everyone's going right now. There's no need to shut down the idea just because Plan A didn't work. And so, yeah, I just had to pivot, and that was like one of the first challenges that I ever dealt with, was pivoting, having this grand idea, like, yeah, like I'm gonna do this, man. I'm gonna be at Discovery Green. Everybody gonna be out there, and then like the world's shutting down. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is the first challenge. What you gonna do? Are you just gonna, okay, now TechFest Live is no longer, we can't do it in person. No, it was a challenge. We found a solution, and now because of that, we're back in person. And but because I didn't give up and I just didn't say, oh, I can't do it in person. Now I can look back and be like, man, if I wouldn't have done that event virtually in 2020 or in 2021, I wouldn't have none of this momentum that I have now. So definitely, the pandemic was a challenge. You also asked me about just how was it for me in the business as well. It was probably the best thing that could have happened. Um, like the world got to sit with themselves, and I don't think people were like sitting with themselves, and that self awareness and that self reflection, and like I'll try to avoid like the negative stuff, but when you are on the go 9 to 5, you got family, and I don't, not myself as far as like kids and things, but just in general for people, you have family, you have spouses, you have kids, you have all these different things that are going on, that are going on in your personal world. And when all that ceases, you get to really evaluate, how's my life at home? How are my habits? I don't really read, man. I don't really work out. I don't have no hobbies. Like, people were discovering things about themselves that they just didn't have the time to discover. And I feel like the pandemic gave everyone an opportunity to get a glimpse of financial freedom, I would say. I know it was tough times for people, and like we were getting government assistance, people were getting PPP loans and all this stuff. But I think that mindset of freedom, time freedom, and you could wake up and literally, if you wanted to go run 2 miles, you could do that. If you wanted to wake up and read a book, you could do that. Or if you want to sleep in all day and play video games, you could do that too. Or if you want to create you a business, you were able to do that as well. And so it just gave people, it gave myself self-reflection time to really like think, okay, what do I want to do? I got time on my hand. Do I want to become a scholar and go back to, like, it was just a great time to if you took it as a positive for all the negative that was going on, you probably are in a better position now than if the pandemic didn't happen. Like, imagine if the pandemic didn't happen. And I know there's a lot of individuals across the world that lost their lives, and definitely prayers go out to them. People still affected by that. But imagine if the pandemic didn't happen. There would be so many businesses that wouldn't have been started. So many ideas. Like, I literally have ideas that only happened because of the pandemic. I have people that I met only happened because of the pandemic, and it's just crazy that we all experience that around the world. I mean, in my lifetime, I haven't been a part of an event where we all like around the world experience the same. Like, imagine that we all experience the same thing at the same time. No one was really exempt from the pandemic, and so it was a gift and a curse for sure.
Right, right. So yeah, you talked about the pandemic, how you got like different ideas and stuff, how you would have never been able to come up with those ideas, and it forced the world to pretty much sit and like
Hmm.
really like work on self development. Did you ever like leverage Clubhouse during this process, during that process of pivoting uh, TechFest Live?
Yeah, no, I didn't leverage it. I just was a consumer of Clubhouse, but I didn't leverage Clubhouse at the time. I would have if I was where I was. If I'm where I am now, I probably would have. But at the time, no. I just hopped on. Like, it was so much going on in Clubhouse. Like, so many different rooms you could be in. Like, I was definitely trying to make sure I'm in the educational in the educational uplifting rooms. But no, I was really just a part of the movement that was Clubhouse. But I didn't really leverage it at all.
Got it, got it. Yeah, I mean, I met some really interesting people, during Clubhouse. Like some people that I even talked to this day, and it was kind of crazy to see how like Clubhouse came out of nowhere and all of a sudden had a
Hmm.
$1 billion valuation.
Yeah, even things like Clubhouse and Versus, having the Verses, and then the Instagram lives were really like people were doing a lot of Instagram lives, and like D Nice was doing his DJ stuff. Like, people just got creative and made money out of the pandemic from being creative. They're sitting in the house like, I'm not just gonna sit around and do nothing, and they found a way to monetize it. Like, those are smart and bright individuals, you know.
Right, right. Um, so yeah, so you mentioned that when we was talking previously that so you go through the pandemic, you're here now. Um, Tell us about some of those like I guess breakout moments for you where you started to see things go to another level.
The breakout moments. It was just that my breakout moments have been the execution of my events so far, honestly. So, you know,
Mm,
the 50 students, the first year we did the virtual, then the 90 students, and then in 2022, when we successfully hosted our first in-person event at the Ion for 400 students, like that was a breakout moment, because leading up to that event, I still had to prove to myself and to our sponsors in the community that we can pull this off, we can execute and pull this off. So I actually, when I put on these expos, man, like, I actually look at it as if like I'm rolling out an album. I'm a big music fan, and so like I take it like that type of personally, and I want to put out the best album that I can, right? From the mixing and the editing to the features to the cover art to the promotion of it. Like, that's how I kind of like framework it in my mind. And so, somebody could be working on an album for a year, or an album for 6 months or 2 years. And so all of my projects or my expos or some of the programming that we do, in earlier times, I was looking at it as if it was an album rollout. And how do I put the best product and the best sound out there, from the type of sponsors that we have to the nonprofit and for-profit startups that we're working with, to the universities that we bring on. Like, how do I piece all of this together and put together one sound piece of content for people to consume?